Last time on Jairus of All. This time on Jairus of All, I continue the build of the Mantis blades from Cyberpunk 2077 that will do everything in real life that they can do in the game. That's the process. Here goes nothing. Oh man, more pressure. Ooh. Last time I ended with trying to chemically etch the blood groove into my blades and it wasn't working very well. I decided to just do it old school style, by hand, grinding stuff away. I already did one and it didn't turn out very well, but I was also trying to figure out the process. Let's see if the second time goes better. Need some snow to cool it off. I'm gonna make this pile of parts not be a pile of parts. When I went to my local hardware store, I got little tiny fasteners to put these together. The initial plan was to weld them. That would be a nightmare if I had to service it because I'd have to grind the welds out and take it apart, which would be really terrible. I decided that I'm just gonna bolt everything together. So right now I'm laying out where I'm going to put everything. The issue is the local hardware store that I went to didn't have enough of one size. So I'm using the smaller size in the skinnier sections and the bigger size where there's a little more meat to work with. And I used blue for the little ones, green for the big ones, and I'm using red to lay out the areas where stuff is going to pass through this so that I don't forget about it, put something in that area. For right now, I need to drill a lot of holes. Time to drill 110 holes. 'The piece that I drilled is locked in the vise with one of these pieces. And now I'm going to transfer the holes to that so that they're accurate. It matters where the holes are at in the centerpiece the most, which is why I drilled those first, and they'll be transferred to the other ones one by one. But right now, I need to transfer the back 3 holes to lock these in place together. And then I will put the blade piece in to get my separation, and I will drill holes down along here and bolt it together as I move the blade out to make sure my clearance is correct the whole way down. "44 holes down, 66 to go, but so far, so good." Very concerned about this part of this, but there's no point in being concerned about it until I'm done with it and it fails, because it might just work the way it is. This is the center. These are the 2 pieces that go around it. These are clamped together to transfer the holes. I need to make sure they're perfectly aligned and straight. If there's any curve to it now, it will mess it up. Right. Perfectly straight. I mean, as perfect as my eye can tell. Now I gotta take it apart, put it back together with this, I was putting these together and then I went to slide the blade in so I didn't have to try to fit it in later and it wouldn't go down in. I knew that this was a blonde one thicker than the center section. I shaved it down. At least I thought I did all of it and I didn't because I was hanging onto this part and I never shaved that down. So now I have to do that and refinish the blade. Even though I thought I was gonna get to move to the next step, now I gotta go redo a bunch of stuff. But that's the process when you're doing these kind of projects. Can't remember everything. You know there's a bunch of names on my table, but what you might not know is that all these names represent the people that support this channel on Patreon, and they have access to the templates for the big projects that I do, like this build right now. So if you would like access to the templates, get your name on the table, and have the satisfaction of knowing you're supporting the channel, link to Patreon in the description. It took quite some time to grind this down, and it's now the next day, but it fits perfect, and does that. So now it's time to put stop blocks on. These little plates will attach on each side to the titanium and they will guide it when it goes forward and they will act as the stop that keeps the blade in. So now, so far it feels like it might work out really well, but we shall see. This is steel, this is titanium. I don't have a TIG welder here, so I'm not gonna weld titanium plates to it, but I can rivet the steel to it. You can't weld steel to titanium. I'm going to cut up a nail into rivets because nails are resistant to shearing, unlike screws. So I'm gonna drill it, countersink it, rivet it, and then shave it so that it fits inside the outer plates. And then we'll see how well it works once it's in there tight. Here goes nothing. See how bad this is messed up now. There's basically not any chance that this thing is going to slide back and forth freely. There's no way. Oh man, all of that careful work was worth it because that's 1, 2, 3 down in there. 4, 5, 6 different surfaces that all match up. That's awesome. It sits at the back so nice. It has to be tight at the back so that the blade doesn't come down and hit this. You know a project is getting good when the table starts getting messy. That's because this project is about to get really awesome. And I need to put 2 holes in the back of this. One for the air to go in that pushes it forward, and one for the elastic to come out that pulls it back. Let's drill some holes. Progress is being made. The bigger the gob, the better the job. Here it goes. I barely had any pressure on it. Was I doing that bad? Pretty good. Yes. Due to the magic of YouTube, we just turned 4 hours of work to get this elastic cord attached to the blade into, you know, a few seconds. I broke a drill bit off when I was drilling the one hole So I had to get that dug out, and then tapping and getting the length of the screw right took a lot. But it is really well attached and replaceable if it messes up. And then this red piece is a piece of the tube from WD-40 that I drilled the center of out so that it fit really nice on this. It's anti-abrasion bushing so that it can travel through the steel, which is what one of the holes was drilled for in the back. So this will go through that part there, and then this red tube fits in the steel right there so that it can pull this back and it doesn't rub on the steel. I'm just gonna set these together and see how it goes. Okay, take your one hand and put it right here and hold that. Okay, I needed more hands, so Bryce is holding the blade. Let go whenever you want. Perfection. Oh man, this is gonna be so good. I have my bearing rod holder hole here, but this part is the one that needs to be drilled out because the bearing sits in there. These hold the rod. The issue is that there's that channel for the retract for the elastic. If I drill this, the drill bit's gonna wander and it's gonna mess it up. So I stuffed a nail in there because my cameraman had the idea to fill it with material so that the drill bit would drill straight through. I think I have a better chance of succeeding with it this way. Fingers crossed. We're about through. Success. High five. That worked out about as well as it possibly could have. But this one I'm also a little concerned about because it's going to make that area very small. Might as well go for it though. It was going so well. So I broke the tap, which is not surprising because it's ultra tiny. The thing was, I know how to tap holes. I haven't broken a tap for a really long time, but these are really tiny. No force, snapped her right off. I abandoned that hole entirely and drilled a new one to do it from the other side. That way I don't have to try to get that little piece of tap out that's still left in there. Hopefully try number 2 works better. I think I'm through. Use real thread cutting oil. Apparently it makes a big difference and you won't break your taps off. I was just using pneumatic oil. I thought that would be fine, but figured I'd save myself some time. Instead of taking 5 steps over there to get the cutting oil, I just used the oil that was right here. But it's good now. Yes. We need our little guide. Time for grinding. Itty bitty tiny grinding. I found these itty bitty ball bearings on Amazon. Links to all the stuff that I'm using and building this out of in the description. Also, by the way, 2mm hole, drill bits for it. I'm gonna use the drill bit as the axle to hold it in place. So I just need to nip off a little bit of each one of these. Trim this to the initial length, so I'll put the smallest amount of preload on it, about 1 inch of preload. Not enough preload because it doesn't keep it at the back. I realized that in order to get the correct length for the elastic, I need this to be able to move smooth, so I took it apart to clean it, and then I realized that there's no point in not drilling the outside panels now that everything's ready while it's apart to clean it. So I'm gonna drill those holes, and then I'll re-grease it, put it back together, get the elastic length right. Yeah. All together. So let's see if it goes in and out right. There's a lot of grease in there because it all squished out when I tightened it, but it took a lot of time and a lot of effort to get to this point on this thing. I don't want to blow it apart, so we're going to start with low pressure, 15 psi. I had a feeling we'd have to go higher than that. More pressure, 30 psi. Oh, almost there, 50 psi. Part of the issue is that there's a ton of grease in there, so it can't use the momentum to help it reach the entire way out. But now it does. Why are you hanging up? That's the issue. We're gonna snug everything up, make sure there's no leaks since I just flipped it over and found a big gap in the bottom. Here we go, sealed up tight. That was the issue. Whoa! If I can get this sealed really well, it does a lot better. Did you hear that? She clunked at the front. I'm gonna need a bumper up there. That or turn the air down. Whole way. Full extension. Back in. Oh, it works. It works, it works, it works. Obviously, I'm not gonna carry around this tube from an air compressor to make this thing go. All this is gonna be fully automated. It's gonna be on a pneumatic system run off of CO2. That will continue in the next build video in this series. Now that I'm done with the hardest part of the build, it's time to really dig in and start doing some really cool stuff. That's pretty cool though. Gotta build the lock in it yet so it holds it out, but that'll happen later on. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye.